Gen X grew up on late-night warnings.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Scared, straight.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
And were inspired by movies that defined a generation.
I mean, we're all pretty bizarre. Some of us are just better at hiding it, that's all.
Hey, Doc, we better back up. We don't have enough road to get up to 88.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
I feel the need for speed.
We found our attitude in comedy.
I'm Gumby, damn it!
You see that sign?
No shirt, no shoes.
No dice.
Right. Learn it. Know it. Live it.
And our identity in pop culture.
I want my MTV!
I want my MTV.
I want my MTV.
What you talking about, Willis?
Keep your feet in the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
This is Gen X Men with Bill Rowland and Gary Dollarhide.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Yes, you could. You could miss it. But you're not going to miss us today. Here we are, Bill Rowland, Gary Dollarhide. It is another episode of Gen X Men. And I saw something here that I wanted to mess around with on StreamYard just as the intro was going. Just to remind everybody, I don't know if this will work, so bear with me. Let's see. Nope, it won't work. All right, sorry. I was going to tell everybody to remember to like and subscribe, but it doesn't. It doesn't allow me. Oh, there it goes. There it is, right there below me.
Oh,
you see that? Yeah, like, subscribe.
Heart me and bell me.
That's always fun. Yeah, something like that. So anyway, there you go. Like and subscribe. We appreciate it. So another episode. It is again getting close to the end of summer. It's very depressing around these parts. I don't know how things are there in Maine. You guys lose light a lot faster than we do down here. People may not realize that you guys are going
further east.
Yeah, well, not only that, you're further north, which makes the difference. And so while you're going to have longer days in the summer, when you guys start losing light, I believe you lose it a lot faster than we do around here.
It goes fast, and it's usually what is it? It's after the time switch, if we have to go through that again.
Oh, that's not until like November.
Is it? No.
Yeah, they've moved November? It back. It's after Halloween now.
Oh, okay. Because I say it's usually about October is when the switch flips, and all of a sudden it's dark at 3.
Yeah, right.
You need a flashlight to get off the school bus to come home.
Yeah, exactly. But the fair is in town, so that's always exciting. I don't know that we're going to get there, but we'll try.
Where are they holding it now?
Prince William County Fairgrounds.
Oh, I was thinking Virginia State Fair.
Oh, no, nobody goes to Virginia State Fair.
No one does.
I don't even know if they have it anymore. I don't even know.
It was such a big thing when I was a kid.
Was it down in Richmond?
It was in Richmond at the Raceway.
International Raceway? Yeah. See, I mean, we never went. We weren't going to drive an hour and a half.
It was huge. But fair season, I mean, they're kicking off here now over the next month. And that's kind of the telltale sign of, we're getting toward the end of summer.
Don't forget, you got to go to the Skowhegan County Fair, the longest running fair in the U.S. So make sure you stop by that. Anyway, all right. Here's your weekly, because we drop these once a week. Here's your weekly. Oh my God, I can't believe we're that old tidbit for today. Gary, you brought this to me, and I went, "That's not possible." And I was like, "Well, yes, it's entirely possible." I just turned 55. Punky Brewster just turned 50.
The 5-0 for the Punky.
That just doesn't seem, again, possible. But of course, it makes perfect sense. I mean, she was a child actress when we were growing up.
Correct.
So why wouldn't she be?
Yeah,
the same
born in
age
1976. Obviously, if you do the math, but if you think about it, you have that image in your head of her as this young kid.
Yeah, of course.
Right? Because that's what's ingrained in our memory from all those years. And now all of a sudden it's, she's 50.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's someone's grandmother in a lot of locations.
Oh, that's true.
That's true. Where you are.
She was 8 when Punky Brewster hit the air because it was 1984. So from the time she was 8 to 12, that's what we know Punky Brewster from. Well, or Soleil Moon Frye is
as you say,
actress.
Soleil Moon Frye.
But I mean, that's what it was. So yeah, Soleil Moon Frye turned 50. But what else? Did she do anything else?
I think there may have been a show or something, but it was still like Punky Returns or Punky Got Older. I don't recall.
I mean, I'm looking at her wiki.
Yep.
And I don't really see any like, oh yeah, that was a really good movie. I forgot that she was in that, because I don't see anything in here that I'm like, what? She did some voices for the Bratz direct-to-DVD movies. Okay, fine. She was Jade. That I'm sure that paid pretty well. But other than that, I mean, look, back in 1994, she was in Pumpkinhead 2: Blood Wings. I don't know if that counts for anything, but yeah.
Child actors, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, go back historically, right? It's either they never get away from that image, right? They're always stuck.
Right.
I mean, her, even though he wasn't young, Gary Coleman was, right? They just get stuck. But then you have the Kurt Russells and others who can translate out of being a child actor into adult actor and move on. And it just so happens, I think, management, her desire, whatever, just kind of got caught in that other half of, you had a good run there as a kid.
Yeah,
Enjoy.
I mean, I'm looking through. She did a lot of she was in Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Okay.
So she was in that. That was the second one that she was in. Other than that, she's done a lot of voice work, which is great because that stuff pays really well.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, yeah, I mean, she had a couple-year run on Sabrina the Teenage Witch and Punky Brewster. So good for her. She's made herself a nice living. Happy birthday, Soleil Moon Frye. But
big 5-0.
I can't believe that 50 now.
It just kind of hits, doesn't it, though?
I mean, here's the other thing that just kind of hits. 45 this past week. Although I almost feel like this is, I feel like there's two different things here. And this is, we're talking about MTV just turned 45. It was launched August 1st, 1981.
Mm-hmm.
Most of us
to New Jersey.
did not, well, yeah, I was going to say most of us did not see the launch because it wasn't like on every case. It wasn't like it is now where you just went to like YouTube or Hulu or whatever and it was going to be like you'd be able to watch it. You didn't have it. Like we wouldn't have got, even if we had cable in 1981, which we didn't at my house, we wouldn't have gotten it. We wouldn't have seen MTV. I mean, it wasn't broadly broadcast then. So everybody who says, oh, I remember the launch, they either lived in the New York, New Jersey, or I think maybe Kansas or Oklahoma as well, or they're lying to you.
Right. Or they remember the launch on their cable system, and that's
okay.
You want to go back through it. Yeah, because it launched, I think there was like 2 or 3 million households, mostly in New Jersey, New York, when it started.
Right.
So the whole push, and this is one of those advertising PR things, was the I Want My MTV. They realized cable was still sort of in its infancy at that time.
Right.
Like there just weren't these big cable systems said, yep, we'll take that, we'll take that, we'll take that. They had to be sold on this MTV concept because a lot of operators were like, what? You're just going to play? We have radio stations for that. I don't.
Right.
So MTV in itself started that whole campaign with the artists saying it on the network and the kids is I Want My MTV. Call your local cable operator to get it added. And that took off on its own. That was one of the big behind the scenes business moves that they did to get added cable systems. Because you're right. When it launched, it was, okay. But it took 4 or 5 years for it to get up to what we think of as MTV being this huge national brand.
Yeah, I mean, that, as you said, it's a huge thing because that stayed forever. I mean, that phrase, that whole thing, that is, I mean, we play it in our opening. It became this iconic catchphrase, if you will. And I mean, look, Dire Straits made a whole song about it. So, I mean, So yeah, I mean they did an unbelievable job, but it's weird because I still think of it as okay, maybe it's three parts then, because I think of it as obviously we didn't see it in 81.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably at least, I mean, I saw it at a friend's house within the first couple of years.
Yep.
But I don't think we had cable until I was close to 13 or 14 years old. So it was probably 84, 85 before it was in our house on the regular. So there's that kind of period. Then there's when you watched it all the time. And then there was when, I guess when we got into college, maybe you sort of started easing yourself away from watching MTV all the time and everything else. And they started when they did the Real World, and it just started spiraling into doing everything else. You had Real World, then you had Road Rules, then you had all these other things. It just wasn't the same. And I attributed a lot of that to us just aging out of the demo. Even though we were in our early 20s, we probably hadn't really aged out, but I just felt like this isn't what I signed up for.
Right.
I didn't want all this reality TV stuff, and then it just now they don't even play videos anymore. So
well, now it's the ridiculousness rerun.
Oh
channel.
my god!
I think there's that and a little bit of catfish mixed in there somewhere. But yeah, the initial was the music, the videos, and you're right. It was in the '90s when they kind of hit the button on let's do this unscripted reality television, which wasn't bad. I think what they got plagued with or hit with was the music changed, right? Because right before we were in college, 89, we went into this alternative grunge, Seattle, Nirvana. Nothing wrong with that. I've said this before, psychologically, music changed. It went into this kind of dark, weird, like, So did you care about the videos? No. So as MTV says, wow, we're losing viewership. Well, let's try something different. Great. They started with the reality stuff. And then obviously a lot of that became a big hit. So what do media outlets do when they realize something brings eyeballs and makes money? They keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to a point in that regard. But I mean, I thought Nirvana videos, like Smells Like Teen Spirit and stuff like that, those things were giant and they ended up iconic videos. So was it just the rest of them that couldn't adjust to the, to being video stars, if you will, or whatever? I mean, is that like, I don't remember, and again, I wasn't a big grunge guy, but I don't remember like a Soundgarden video. Like I remember obviously the Nirvana video because they played it every hour on the hour, it seemed like. But I don't remember a Soundgarden video, and everybody's going to scream at me about this. I'm like, sorry, I wasn't a Soundgarden guy. I wasn't a grunge guy. I didn't like it. I had enough angst in my life. I didn't need that added on top of it.
Right. And that's what I'm talking about, at least anecdotally, psychology. The music changed for us. Yes, there were still kids behind us who were into it, liked it, but it just wasn't as paramount like I always say, we had variety in the 80s. Go pull some of the top 10, top 50, 25, whatever number you want to use, and look at the diversity of music. You could have hair metal. You had a Lionel Richie. You still had, let's just say it, he made some hits. Christopher Cross. You could almost have anything in the top 10. And then it seemed like somewhere, even though I was working radio, 89, 90, everything started to change. It started to get just
really segmented,
and it was all that grunge metal, grunge rock, whatever you want to call it. And the music was just, to me, not upbeat and like, I want to hear this. It was like, oh. And I also remember, because I was working country radio at that point, it had the resurgence because I think it kind of filled that generic pop sound.
Right.
Not fully, because it was still
twangy.
Yeah. But it became that like, oh, this is a good song and it's upbeat and we like this. And you kind of had that transition where a lot of people drifted over to the country channels because it was providing that just kind of middle of the road happy music that people were missing from the previous decade.
Right.
That's just my take on it.
No, I think that's fair. I mean, I bet if you did a study on it, it would come up with that. But speaking of, you're talking about all the variety that they had. Let's pull up. Here are the first 10 videos. And of course, everybody who pays attention knows the first video ever was the Buggles video, Killed the Radio Star. But I would not have thought Pat Benatar, You Better Run. I don't, do you know that song? I'm not even sure I know that song.
I know it in, I wouldn't call it one of her big hits, but I remember it like
the
lyrics. Yep.
And then, I mean, you look down at REO Speedwagon. Like, do you remember the band PhD? I don't.
Not at all.
Yeah, no idea. And then Styx, REO Speedwagon. The funny thing about this, again, Rod Stewart on there. The funny thing about these, and we've got all the way, I did slides for the first 30 because I don't want to get deep into the woods on it. But the funny thing about it, these songs all didn't come out in 81. You'll see some songs on here, you'll be like, hold on a second. That song was from whenever. Like, MTV didn't hit the airway on August 1st in 81 and go, okay, let's do the top 40 songs and we'll just play their videos like you would on radio. They had to just take whatever was available to them. And in some cases, it was videos that were 3, 4, 5 years old.
Yep. So here's how it works for people. It's counterintuitive. When they launched, artists were not doing videos except really in a promotional capacity that the label said, hey, let's make a mini movie of this to get it in the hands of program directors who might be on the edge, and let them hear and see the music to get these ads. Because if you look like Pat Benatar, You Better Run, not one of her bigger hits, right? So that's the label pushing it.
Right.
REO Speedwagon, Take Over the Room was kind of big. Styx, Rock in the Paradise, not one of the big ones, right? Because these videos were created in that zone of trying to promote the music to the program directors to get these ads on. So if you had a great song, it probably didn't need the promotional video support. Some of your second tier ones, the label said, well, why don't we spend the money and do something with this one? Because we think that might push through. So that's the catalog that they had when they started. It wasn't until later on when it was, hey, we want this hit.
Video. Yeah.
We got to do a video. And that's why you started hiring movie directors. And, it became this whole thing of we got to have a great video to get a high rotation count on MTV.
Yeah. And I'll pull up now 11 through 20 here for you as we go through the first 30. And this is, again, Split Ends. I've heard of them, but it's the guy who ended up starting Crowded House, which I didn't realize at all.
That either. Yeah.
But and we just talked about it. Look at the diversity in here. Rod Stewart, Sailing. You know when that song came out? 1975. And it was the 15th video played on MTV right before Iron Maiden, which is amazing to me that Iron Maiden was on this list. I went through the top 50. Iron Maiden was on there a couple different times. Yeah. And it's kind of weird because, like, they didn't start Headbangers Ball until a few years into this. Like, heavy metal wasn't necessarily a big MTV thing, but Iron Maiden was all over the first few years of MTV, and especially the first, few hours of MTV of them playing it. But again, I look down here. I don't remember. Maybe if I heard these songs, I remember it, but I don't remember who April Wine is.
The Canadian band.
I mean, good for you knowing that. I have no clue.
They were kind of this rock band that I any real hits? No, but they were a known commodity, and that was everything I was going to add in when we were talking about Iron Maiden and some of these others. Videos at this point were also just concert footage.
Yeah, a lot of these are live footages. Yep.
Right? They was just that's the song that they were playing. They stripped it, put the little details in the corner, and that was the video for the song. Again, giving them more access to more videos to put on. So when you see the Iron Maidens and a 38 special and everything, some of these were just concert footage. And they evolved into that for a little bit until it took over that, hey, we have to make a video.
And even then, like you think of the Bon Jovi videos that became such big hits. A lot of those were just cut concert video footage. I mean, there were a lot of bands that still just was like, just make the video from the live performance. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
People seem to like that. So
it's cheaper.
Yeah. But again, Rod Stewart Sailing, that's a 1975 song.
Yeah. I mean, look, Lee Ritenour is a known jazz guy, and he's there at number 20. I mean,
again,
just
I had no idea who that was. I just looked at it and went, I probably know these songs, but I just don't know them. Like right off the top, I go, oh yeah. Like again, I remember hearing of Split Ends, but I went and looked, and I was like, who was this band? And then when it talked about, I think it was their lead singer ended up being the guy who started Crowded House. And of course, I know Crowded House because I'm an 80s kid. But I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. 38 Special, again, not a band that most people, I mean, you know their songs, but I don't know anybody who goes, well, I just don't know anybody who goes, you know who my favorite band of all time is? 38 Special. And that's not a knock on them. They're a very good band. I don't turn the channel when a 38 Special song comes on, but I just don't know that they should have been the 13th video show on MTV. You know.
Well, here's what I need to know, because I didn't get a chance to look it up, and you can right now. Okay. I need to know about Robin Lane and the Chartbusters at number 11.
I did not. I didn't look up Robert Lane and the Chartbusters, but we'll do that right now.
That in itself is quite the band name. I mean, that's almost very 1950s, 60s.
Yeah. The funny thing is,
Robin Lane and the Chartbusters.
Here you go. There is nothing on them on Wiki. There is something on, I guess, let's see. He was Kermit Ken Lane, or I guess was part of the band.
He was a Chartbuster.
It was a Chartbuster. Yeah, let me see. Hold on. I'm looking. Oh, no. I take it back. It was his daughter, Robin Lane, who with her band Robin Lane and the Chartbusters. But there's no wiki for Robin Lane. So it's Robin, not Robert, apparently.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Robin. Okay.
So the thing, Robin. That's why it didn't come up. But there is no, her dad was very famous. He was a musician and pianist and was on the Dean Martin show, worked with Frank Sinatra. So her dad was pretty well connected.
He was classic.
Yes. But let's see what Robin Lane, who apparently is still alive, born in 1947. Ooh. Yeah. They formed in 1978, the Chartbusters. And I'm reading through and no. They were signed to Warner Brothers in 1980. Their first album, Robin Lane and the Chartbusters, featured the singles "When Things Go Wrong" and "Why Do You Tell Lies." So
I gotta go listen to this later.
Here's the thing: "When Things Go Wrong" charted all. I mean, it was huge, Gary. 87 is the highest point it reached on the Billboard Top 100.
But they had a video.
They had a video, and it was the 11th video played on MTV, so you can't take that away from the Chartbusters.
Not at all.
Yeah, I had no clue. Like I said, a lot of these, I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Well, like I said, at least on the first 20, I looked at it and said, oh, okay, I maybe heard of them. I know of them. No big deal, because understanding where we are in 1981 with the launch of this. But that one stuck out. I was like, Robin Lane and the Chartbusters. I can't even. No. Not even sure who Michael Johnson is, because my first thought wasn't that the guy who ran track for the U.S. Olympic team?
It was. He had a big, and actually, it's the 40th anniversary of his big in '96 in Atlanta shoes. When he went crazy. Well, I guess it wouldn't be 40, 30 years. Sorry. Okay. But 86 was Michael Johnson's big. I think that's right. That was his big year. Let me see. What was the other name? I'm off the page now. So
Michael Johnson. Who? Michael Johnson, Bluer Than Blue. Yeah.
There's Michael Johnson, the sprinter, the footballer. Here we go. Singer. Oh, unfortunately, he's no longer with us. He was a pop, country, and folk singer-songwriter.
Goodness
and
gracious.
Again, we talked about this. He is best remembered for Bluer Than Blue, which is the video on there, right?
Number 18.
That came out in 1978. So again, it's another song that was three years old at this point.
Yeah.
I apologize. I should have found all of these songs and downloaded them and then given us a sample of them, but I did not do that. I didn't know we would go this deep into it. All right,
Well,
you want to look at 21 through 30?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, 21 through 30 looks like this. Oh, look who's there again.
There's people we know.
Yes, but look who's there again. Rod Stewart. Again.
Yep. And Split Ends, they made it again.
And Pat Benatar.
Yep.
Again. Jerry Rafferty, Baker Street. Great song. Everybody knows that song.
Yep.
Even if you don't know who Jerry Rafferty is, it's a great song. It was like 1978, 77, something like that. It was not from 1981.
Yep. His Cash Cow, though.
Oh,
the
yeah.
residuals on that must be amazing.
Oh, I'm sure. But there's Rod Stewart again. I remember Shoes. I remember the band. Phil Collins, that was from 1981, so I give him credit. In the Air Tonight, even though it didn't become a hit until Miami Vice, as we've talked about. Miami Vice, the opening scene, made that song.
Mm-hmm.
If they had never done it, it would have just been like, oh, that was a pretty good Phil Collins song. Miami Vice made that thing iconic.
Yes, it did.
At that point. But you see Rod Stewart on here. Also, and I went through 31 through 40 and 41 through 50. In the first 50 videos, Rod Stewart has 4 of them. REO Speedwagon has 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild to me that, like, was REO, again, a fine band, I don't turn them off. Were they that big in 1981 that people would be clamoring that they need 4 REO Speedwagon videos in the first 50? And it wasn't a repeat. None of them were repeated.
So 2 parts to that. They were big in the Midwest. They were like a known commodity in the Midwest. And then the second part is, was it their management going, we're taking advantage of this? Because I don't know those videos. I don't know if it's concert footage or they actually went and made videos, but I would have to turn it back on the band, i.e. management said, hey, we need to make this stuff available. Or it may have been happenstance that they were trying to get push for national airplay, and again, it was a promo that they had ready and available, so obviously MTV can just go, great, you've got 4 or 5 from this band we all kind of know, we'll play them. So
yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Because we are still early because I want to go back and look in the Air Tonight video to see what they were playing in 81 prior to.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because I swear I remember that song. It was Miami Vice footage when I remember seeing the video, which 81, when was Vice? Wasn't it 81, 80? I can't remember.
No, it was a little bit after that, wasn't it?
So that's why I'm wondering, like, what was that video? I could be wrong, but I just seem to always recall.
I'm going to look up Miami Vice here.
Yeah, it was Miami Vice footage in the video I remember.
I'm looking to see. Yeah, it didn't come out till, I was going to say, 1984. So it must have been concert footage, maybe.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to pull up YouTube and see if I can find original. What would I put? Original In the Air Tonight video?
Video, yeah.
Let's see. Original In the Air Tonight. I'll tell you in a second. The official. Oh, I do remember this.
Okay.
Remember, it's just him looking into the camera.
Okay.
The opening shot is, and I'm going to turn it down because I don't want it to go over and get us dinged. But remember, it's from his Faces album.
Oh, okay.
So the opening shot is him
just straight away,
just looking straight on, and then it goes from there. So yeah.
Okay.
But no, obviously no Miami Vice. Yeah, the entire video. The entire video is basically, I mean, there is some of a guy walking through a hallway and everything, but yeah, it's a lot of just him. I don't know hopefully you didn't hear that. I was playing it in the background.
Nope, couldn't hear it.
Okay, good. That means we won't get dinged for it. Yeah, but the whole video is just kind of him staring like in the camera, kind of like that. I mean, and I do remember that now that I watched it. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. But you're right. I think later on, when you've seen that, they put the Miami Vice footage in because that's what made it iconic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
So,
I'm trying to look.
I don't remember the Cars Double Life. Obviously, I
Nope.
remember the Cars. I was a big Cars fan, but that was before. Again, I think the Cars. Maybe it's because I was 10 when this started, so I wasn't really into, knowing all these bands and everything. And the Cars were kind of an alternative band when they started, and then I think MTV turned them into the pop hits, the pop guys, because they had those great videos.
Yep. And if you want to go the similar lines, ZZ Top. If you go back to their old, I mean, it's big costumes, country western hats, and it turned into, well, you guys got a good song, but this ain't going to work on it. And so that's where you get the dusters and the dark sunglasses and everything that happened in those videos, right? That pushed them over the edge. And, for those who don't know, prior to MTV, because I did a whole paper on this, to get airplay, right? Your label had to push you, and they were talking to program directors at every podunk station everywhere they could for album sales. MTV comes along, and all of a sudden we have a tool that reverse engineers everything, says, well, if we make a cool video with a good song and it gets high rotation on MTV, this radio stations will now follow.
Right.
Yeah,
it went from, I think it really went from radio stations being the tastemakers, if you will, of music to MTV. Like if you didn't need the radio stations at that point. If you could get to MTV and get your video, then radio would have to follow, because all the teenagers, all the kids, all the people that kind of push those things were going to be watching MTV. They're going to be like, well, why isn't when I get my car, why isn't my radio station playing this?
Playing the same thing, national promotion. Because for those, going back, you might have the DJ who loved the record rep from wherever, and he'd play whatever song over and over in Sacramento, right?
He loved him because he's bringing him Coke.
There's that too, right?
There's that going on.
But that would be the only station, or maybe a handful, right? And so songs wouldn't get anywhere unless it was just an outstanding, over-the-top super hit that people just said, yep, like the old days, if it's Elvis, we're playing it, or, whoever.
Right.
And that was the big transition. So now you got this video channel driving programming decisions of, how do we not play that? Now, there was some controversies where, well, we're not going to play that because of the video, but
no, right.
That's true. Can't play that. Or, I mean, look, MTV had its own faults. We talked about the other week. They weren't playing Michael Jackson,
right,
until they got some serious pressure to get beated on the air and in high rotation, because they did not play black artists. That was just kind of their thing. Now, it seems silly to sit here and go, wait a second, I got a music channel and I'm not going to play the hits right? But they had that mindset. It was, I guess, suburban white kids, and they were only going to, feed them select musical taste at that time.
Right. Now, I give also credit to MTV for doing stuff like Headbangers Ball, even though I didn't watch Headbangers Ball. I was never a metal guy, but they understood, hey, not everybody likes all these different, not everybody likes this stuff, but it has its place. And so instead of mixing it in with Madonna and Pat Benatar and everything else, we'll just put it over here and give them a couple hours on, what was it, Friday night, I think they played Headbangers Ball. And that's where you get it. And every once in a while, one of those videos would bleed over into regular rotation. For the most part, they try to keep them in their lane. Same thing when they started MTV Raps. They had the whole, I think that was on the afternoons. That was a daily show. I want to say maybe half hour. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember how long it was. Yeah. But, and again, some of those videos, Beastie Boys and stuff like that, would bleed over into the main rotation. But they just, I don't want to blame them for it, but you're right. Everything wasn't siloed back in the 70s. You go back and listen to any AT-40 from the 1970s with Casey Kasem counting them down, and you'd have Juice Newton, you'd have Olivia Newton-John, you'd have all these, different, a country star, a pop star, what, heck, even TV theme songs were charting in the top 40s back then. And then MTV kind of came along and said, well, no, this is the lane that this is going to be in. This is the lane that this is going to be in. And I think they, and you would know better than me because you actually studied this. I think they did not harm, but they did more to push that siloing that you now see. Sirius XM, 80s channel, 90s channel, today's hits, country, rap, old school rap, all these different. I mean, there's pretty much any micro channel you want.
Yes,
you could probably find on Sirius XM or Spotify or whatever else you use. I think MTV kind of helped drag people along to that because before that, you're right. It wasn't, there were country music stations, but they were playing the old country. They weren't playing like the newer stuff as much as far as competing with the top 40 stations. Country music stayed in their lane. Everything else was just wide open.
To a certain point, I mean, stations were still segmented, because, and I'm using language that was taught to me when I started radio. Well, that's the black station, or it's this
Urban.
Station,
right?
Well, no, they called it
now they would call it the urban.
Urban,
yeah.
Correct. So there was segmentation there. So MTV was able to, I guess they ran that fine line of, we want to play everything because, again, we're about eyeballs, right? We want people watching videos. That's what this is about, so we can sell advertising. But they weren't going to overly max the integration totally. Like you said, we're going to put this over here and MTV Raps. So they still kind of followed that guidelines and kind of kept us there for a little bit. When I was talking about the mixture was, if you get in your top 10s with Casey Kasem, all that was on sales. Hey, if
what was
the
on
song
Airplay
sells,
too?
Yeah, it was on Airplay. I always say this: good music's good music, right? It doesn't matter who's singing it, where it comes from. If people like the tune, whether it's a band, a singer, whatever, people are going to want to hear it, and back then they're going to buy it, and that's why I think you had so much diversity in a Casey Kasem's top 40 because it was based on hard numbers of, hey, this is trending. Whereas I think MTV kind of took and went the not opposite, but they were the starter, right? We're playing this a lot, and now it filters down into sales, airtime, and they kind of, like you said, siloed it and decided what was going to work and not work.
It's funny because everybody looks at it, and again, MTV launches in 1981. You go over a whole year almost until they played their first black solo artist video on MTV. And it was, according to what I've seen, it was Prince with 1999. Of course, Billie Jean for Michael Jackson absolutely just opened the floodgates at that point. But that wasn't until 83.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years. I don't remember exactly when Billie Jean came out, but that's
83. Yeah.
Yeah, that's mind-blowing, I think, to a lot of people. Again, I didn't have MTV those first couple of years. So when I started when we had cable, that wasn't a thing. It was, I didn't sit there and go, where are all the white guys on this? Like, where are all that wasn't a thing. Because Michael Jackson was already being, I remember going to a friend's house because we didn't have MTV. We didn't have cable yet. And I went up to my buddy's house when the whole Thriller and all that, I remember going and watching. So that wasn't a thing for me to be like, there aren't any black artists on here at all. Why is that? But
you weren't culturally sensitive, Bill.
I didn't know.
Right.
But famously, there's a famous interview that David Bowie did actually with one of the VJs. It wasn't JJ Jackson. It was either Mark Goodman or Alan Hunter. It was one. I remember it wasn't one of the women. It was one of the guys. It was the white guy, or with the two white guys. I don't remember which one. But David Bowie just flat out said, "Why don't you play black artists?" Like just called them out like in the middle of the interview. It was like, "Hey, this is great. I love this, but you're missing out on a whole bunch of like, what are we doing here?"
Yeah.
And they just kind of were caught off guard. And I remember the VJ kind of defending it. Well, we go towards a particular segment or whatever. And it was like, what are you doing? Like, so good for David Bowie. Again, calling him out way back when, to be like, why aren't you guys playing this? So,
yeah.
But yeah, Prince 1999 apparently was the first solo black artist to appear on MTV in a video. And then Michael Jackson, and then the floodgates. And at that point, you're like, okay, well, we kind of have to. We don't have a choice. This is, this is a thing now. So,
I think what an odd thing you can't put a finger on it was think how MTV started. Right, it's a rocket ship, and the guy says, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is rock and roll?" Or
something like that. Yeah,
right. So they may have already been. Maybe behind the scenes, they were thinking, "Look, we're just playing rock and roll,"
strict, well, that's exactly what it was,
right? And then it was, well, heck, we can play anything and everything and drive everything from here. So a little bit because again, who knows when you start in New Jersey with less than 2 million households, it's almost like they were programming it for a regular radio station. But we're just going to have videos, right? And we're programming to this segment versus nationwide, worldwide audience that it ended up being.
Right. It's interesting though because they could say, "Oh, well, we're doing this for rock and roll. We're just doing rock and roll stuff." But you look at those videos, like, are the Buggles rock and roll? Like that's the thing that I would look at it and go, "Hold on a second." Now, again. It makes sense that you would play a video with the title of the song, "Video Killed a Radio Star." That makes
tongue in cheek.
I mean, exactly. But they weren't rock. I mean, they go back and look at the first 10 videos again. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Let's take a look. Whoops, that's 21 through 30. Where are my... Oh, I want 10. Hold on a second. We got to get to where it is. There we go.
There we go.
All
okay.
Right. So, would you call... The Who, definitely.
Yep. PhD,
The Pretenders?
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, Brass in Pocket, is that
late
rock?
70s? So you got to think in terms where these songs were like late 70s. Again, you and I are altered because of what we know 80s music MTV forward.
Yeah,
they started this. They were kind of going that late 70s where it's Styx, the Pretenders, the Who, like kind of that weird zone of music that I'm always kind of like, it's all right. That's what existed as so-called rock hits. Plus, like I said, it's what they had on hand to be able to do this.
True. Right.
So they were still selecting down like, well, that's a name. And she, Pat Benatar, we all, she was a rock star. But, we look at it now and go, Pat Benatar, Rod Stewart. They were popular. Right?
Oh no, I don't disagree with the popularity. Benatar, Stewart, and the Who all make sense. Again, I don't have any idea on PhD.
I don't know him.
The Pretenders, obviously, Brass in Pocket. Everybody knows that song. Todd Rundgren, REO Speedwagon, Styx. I was a big Styx fan, so I get all that. But I'm not sure that these are necessarily rock. Again, Robin Lane and the Chartbusters, number 11. Were they a rock group? I mean, I don't think Split Enz is a rock group. To me, that's top 40. That's pop.
Yeah, I would also say there's partially of deciding what was rock / pop at that point. Again, we're in a weird zone.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
I'm talking right before MTV starts and we start popularizing. You got the British invasion, you've got the hair, like everything starts to come together. Why?
Yeah.
It's all promoted on videos. Prior to that, it's as I always make fun, Christopher Cross is like, guy can sing, that's good music, doesn't look good. That was just the music of the times. I'd like to maybe have to resurrect my research and go back and say, let me look at the top 40 for like 79 and 80.
Mm-hmm.
And get a feel for what the artists were, the genre, and just kind of go, oh, so this is what was popular then.
That's a good point.
Again, based on radio play.
Right. I'm going to ask.
There was no imaging at that point necessarily.
Right. I'm going to ask, what were the top 10 songs in 1981 when MTV launched on radio?
I'd almost because that 80.
I just figured we'd see what was
81. Yeah.
Yeah, what was popular when it hit? Because I think that's a good question there too. It's like, okay, how many of these were giant hit? I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some of these bands that I've never heard of were in the top 10. But I'm gonna guess before it even pops up here, I'm gonna guess there are some artists that we're gonna be like, wait, what? That probably
Maybe.
never even thought about appearing. All right, so here you go. This is pretty funny.
Okay.
The week MTV launched, the Billboard Hot 100.
Perfect.
Here's your top 10. Do you want to go from 1 to 10 or 10 to 1?
10 to 1.
10 to 1. Number 10, Juice Newton, Queen of Hearts.
There we go. I remember that.
Country, right? Kind of a country one.
Yep.
Number 9, Diana Ross and Lionel Richie, Endless Love. Of course, the movie.
Yep.
Makes sense. Marty Balin, Hearts.
Okay.
I'm sure if I heard the song, Marty Balin's name sounds familiar. I'm sure if I heard the song, I would know. Okay. The Manhattan Transfer with their remake, The Boy from New York City.
Yep.
Okay, that was
Jimmy Valiant, the wrestler. That's what I remember.
There you go. Hall & Oates, You Make My Dreams Come True.
I said Hall & Oates. Yeah.
Yep. Kim Carnes, Betty Davis Eyes. The Pointer Sisters, Slow Hand. Kenny Rogers, I Don't Need You. Air Supply, The One That You Love. And the number one song back in 1981, Rick Springfield, Jesse's Girl.
There we go.
None of those appeared in the first 50 of MTV.
Guess they didn't have videos.
None of the artists did.
Yeah.
So that's
interesting.
Kind of wild that they're like, all right, well, here we go. This is what it is.
Yeah, we have nothing from the current top 10 music.
Right.
We have a few names, right, that you recognize, like I said, Pat Benatar, right?
Now,
but we don't have the actual.
She wasn't in the first. She wasn't in the first 30, but Juice Newton's Queen of Hearts was one of the first 50. Played. Okay. So we'll give them that. They had one of the top 10 they played in their first 50 songs. That's amazing.
Yeah.
To think about, like, that you wouldn't. Why wouldn't you be playing the most popular songs again? If this is rock and roll, why wouldn't you be playing, Hall & Oates? Why wouldn't you be playing Rick Springfield? Like, those are the two. I mean, other than that, I'm not sure you would play any of these other ones. To be honest with you, if you're going to be
Kenny Rogers,
rock and roll
and the Gambler. No, like I said, it's probably a timing issue.
Could be.
Like,
nobody thought about it. Like,
yeah,
Rick Springfield wasn't thinking about MTV when he did Jesse's Girl and it went to number one. There wasn't a thought.
Correct. And it was, you got to remember, when MTV launches, it's the size of a radio station. So how do you go to an artist and go, hey, we only got a couple 100,000 viewers. Can you go spend the money and make a video so we can play it for? And I'm sure management's like, what? Unless, again, they already had them. And I think, now that I think about it, as we said, there was a lot of concert footage, and maybe that was the quick and dirty answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Over the first year or two of, look, next concert, if you'll just record this song, right? Or your whole show won't cut it up and use it and make hits out of it, etc.
Right. No, that makes sense. Again, why would you spend the money when your A&R guy was spending all the money on coke and hookers for the local DJs?
Right. I'm already Rick Springfield. I'm already number one. I don't know what I need from a little cable channel that plays videos in New Jersey right now.
Right.
But it quickly changed. And I think that's the real story of how fast it went from little something to within 2 or 3 years of, if you're not dealing with MTV, not appearing on MTV, you've got a career problem ahead of you. Yeah,
according to, again, the research, David Bowie in 1980, so predating MTV, spent $500,000 on a video for his song Ashes to Ashes. At the time, the most expensive music video ever made.
Well, he's artsy. I will say that.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Right? He's one of those guys to be like, yes, spend the money. Let's make a video. The song is too good. Yeah.
And then, of course,
$500,000 though back then. That wasn't cheap.
I mean, Thriller was $900,000, and that was the whole thing that John Landis. It was 14 minutes long and everything else. But yeah, Bowie spending $500K before MTV was even a thing. Pretty crazy. So, And then, of course, you had Duran Duran. And that's one of the bands I think.
They love videos.
Well, I think you could look at them. We were talking about what bands maybe MTV made. And ZZ Top is a great answer. I think Duran Duran, and maybe you'll get some pushback from people. I think Duran Duran is one of those answers too. Because they weren't big here in the States. They were doing okay in the UK. And then these pretty boys start doing these videos, and the songs are just okay, and they became monstrous.
Mm-hmm.
I think mainly through MTV. That's just my opinion. I'm not a huge Duran Duran guy, but I think Rio, Hungry Like the Wolf, all those videos are the reason that you went, oh my gosh, this is incredible.
Oh yeah. There is no doubt that there is a bunch of artists that would have just gone to mediocrity if it hadn't have been for MTV to kind of really kick off the visual side of the career and just launch them. I mean, Duran Duran's a good example. Like, they had good music, nothing crazy, but we remember the videos, right?
Of course.
And the
Girls
videos
on
being
film. Yep.
Yeah. And all of a sudden its stations are playing it, and it just helps solidify their careers.
When you look back and you think about the non-video stuff that MTV did, again, I'm not talking about from the real world forward. I'm talking about before that.
Total Request Live.
Well, no.
Spring Break. I don't know.
Not that. No, but you had 120 minutes, which was kind of their interview, and looked at more alternative type of music. You had. Obviously MTV News. They would do specials and everything else. But I loved more than anything, and it's amazing some of the people that came out of this. Remote Control. Do you remember the game, the video?
Sort of, yeah.
Where they had Ken Ober was the host. God rest his soul. Ober is no longer with us. Remember, they had 3 people that were basically in Lazy Boys, and they would ask them trivia questions about the videos, about MTV videos and stuff. And they would have different people, like Adam Sandler was a reoccurring, like they would have different, not guests, but characters that would come on. Adam Sandler was one of them early on. Colin Quinn was like the sidekick that would just like make little remarks off to the side. And the funny thing was, I didn't realize this until I started researching for this episode. Bill Maher was a writer on Remote Control for MTV. I had no idea. I had no clue. I had never heard that before. I was like, this how do I not know this? But yeah, stuffy Bill Maher on, was it HBO, whatever his show is?
Yep.
He wrote for MTV back in the 80s on Remote Control.
Interesting.
So I love Remote Control because when the contestant got eliminated, they didn't just be like, okay, well, you lost, so you got to go. They'd be in the Barca Lounge, and it would literally like go whooshing back behind, like the thing would open up, and they would just like slam them back. I mean, like you were gone when you got eliminated.
The tribe had spoken.
Yeah, basically, you just eliminated.
No, I do. I sort of remember, but here goes. My parents, where I lived, did not get cable till 1992.
Oh, so yeah, it was gone by then.
Right,
it was 86 to 90-ish, right around in there.
So
yeah.
I only got MTV at my grandparents' house because they lived in town in North Carolina, and one of my aunts is only 4 years older than me, so we were kind of at the right age group in music and watching MTV on their cable channel. And then when I got to Mason in Northern Virginia, where people had cable, right? Yeah. In dorms and being out and about. So I remember Beavis and Butthead. That was interesting.
Yeah,
but
that was
so yeah. So I didn't get the full MTV flavor until the 90s. That's why I remember the recliners once you mentioned it.
Okay,
but I could sit here and go, oh yeah, what a great show! I loved it. Because I was relegated to Friday night videos that came on.
Oh yeah, NBC.
Opposite, yeah. That was my video source back in the day. I knew MTV existed, just didn't have it. So, yeah. It's
funny because like the end, and I don't remember what kind of prizes you got for winning. I don't remember all that, but the end thing, if you were the final person, you would have the video challenge, and I think you had 60 seconds. And there were 10 videos that you had to identify up on the big monitor screen in a thing. But the thing was, they played them all at once. So it's just a cacophony of mute. Like, you couldn't sit there, like, it didn't go one by one. Like, they didn't show the first one. You're like, oh, okay. Because then you could hear the song, the lyrics, and you'd be able to just rattle them off. No, all 10 playing at the same time.
Oh, Jesus.
So you had to figure out a way to either A, not listen to any of it and just recognize it by the visuals, or try to figure out, and I don't know how you do this, of honing in on just one particular song to get the hook and then be able to answer it. And then they would eliminate it off the screen and the sound of that would go away. So you would get it down. Once you got it down to 3 or 4, it was much more manageable. But that first cacophony of 10 and the visual and everything else, it was like, I mean, and there were some people that did it. Like, we're just like, no problem, ran through. I'm like, and that's when you went, man, you spend way too much time in front of MTV. If you can just, in 60 seconds, I think it was 60 seconds, identify every single one of those movies. It was, I mean, videos, it was wild. But it was a fun show. Adam Sandler, I think, had a character, it was the pool boy. They would come in with a towel around his neck and everything. And yeah, because it was supposed to just be the whole thing was, we're doing this game show in Ken Ober's house. And he was just the host. And it was like in his kitchen or something like that. Like, that was the whole set. I think if that's right, because they would come in through the side door like they were coming in from the backyard or something.
Interesting.
It was cool. I mean, if you've never seen it, go. I'm sure they're on YouTube. Go check out a couple episodes.
I have a 48-hour shift starting in the morning, so I'll have time to kind of dig through and look at some of this old footage.
There you go. Yeah, it's good.
What I do remember, which I always liked, and again, sign of the times, was MTV Spring Break, because it was always around the time of
our spring break.
Our spring break, basketball tournaments. Where are they? And the live performances there on the beach, wherever they were, was like, oh, it'd be so cool to be there.
You know what? I don't ever remember once going, I wish I was at MTV Spring Break.
I did a couple times.
It looked just a mess. And I had friends that went down to Spring Break and everything, and they'd come back with stories, and I'm like, that sounds awful. Like, they would be talking about having 7 or 8 guys all in the same hotel room to save money, and people just crash on the floor. I'm like, that sounds great for like a day or two, but a week of that? No way. I like to shower every morning. I like to be clean. I couldn't do it. I just wouldn't be able to do it. I couldn't. I mean, yeah, it looked sure. I guess it was fun. You get to see some artists and live performances that you probably wouldn't, but it's everything other than that hour when they're out on the beach. Like, everything else that went along with it, I'd be like, no, I don't think so.
I looked at it as it'd be like going to New Year's Eve in Times Square.
Yeah.
It's better to watch it, but one time to go and just go, look around, see what's actually happening. That's kind of what I had visions in my head on that one.
No, that I'm with you on that. Yes. I think if you said, I just want to do this one time, to say that I've done it, that's completely fair. Like New Year's Eve in Times Square, you should try to do it once just to say you've done it. Although that also looks like a total nightmare, because once you're in the area, you can't leave, right?
I don't know what the rules are now. I think there's something to that. Like, you get patted down, and once you're in, you're in. The time I went was old school, pre 9/11, of people just packed in down there, and that was it.
Okay, so if you got there early and then say had to use the little boys' room, what were your choices? Did they have porta potties set out around there?
They have porta potties, but you could also meander out of again, pre 9/11, all that. It was just people crowded in, starting early, starting late, but you could get away and all right, I'm gonna go 4 blocks this way to whatever and use the bathroom if I need it. Like, there was, they had barriers, let me say that, but it wasn't like, okay, only 100,000 people are going through here and we're wanding them. There was none of that. It was just the crowd, because this would have been 93, 94. It just existed, right?
Okay.
And they were prepared for it. And then we got 9/11, and we got COVID and everything, and it's ticketed, and it's this and that, and yeah, I don't know what they do nowadays.
Yeah, I haven't been out and about on a New Year's Eve in a long time.
Yep.
To me, it's amateur night. So,
because when I was there, I remember having dinner, and this was 8, 9 o'clock. I can't even tell you what the restaurant was. I remember sitting in the restaurant and looking out the front windows, and it's just a wall of people.
Yeah, just walking by.
By, stuck, stationary. I mean, it was just all you saw were heads.
Right.
And you came outside, you didn't have much room to go left, right. Just whatever you were going to do, you kind of had to go, all right, we're going to meander through this, because it's just people milling about. And tightly. It wasn't like these big gaps of there's 20 people and a lot of people. No, you get down in there and it's just wall to wall people, as they say.
Crazy. Yeah. Maybe one time. I don't know if I would do it now, because again, it seems like a nightmare with all the security
I would
and
not
everything
do
else.
it now.
Yeah. But yeah, I was never. I mean, we did Beach Week. You came down with us and did Beach Week at Myrtle Beach the 1 year. That was fine, because you weren't putting, again, 12 guys into a condo and half of you sleeping on the kitchen floor or whatever it was. Like, I mean, that wasn't a thing, and it wasn't as. I mean, it was Myrtle Beach, so it wasn't going to be nearly as crazy as Daytona, for spring break, or where else they went to Padre Island in Texas, I think, a couple times too.
Yeah.
So, no thanks. Especially now, there's no way I would do it.
Well, in March they had to be deep south to make it warm enough so people would be half naked. So
yeah, that's a fair point. Like the Grind. Do you remember the Grind?
The name of the show, yes.
The MTV version of American Bandstand, as I like to call it. Yeah, that was another one. So anyway, all right. I think we've done MTV justice for the 45th anniversary. Congratulations to them. They don't show videos anymore, so I don't know why it's called music television, because it's, as you said, just the ridiculous channel.
Yeah,
that's what it's turned into. All right, you got any final parting thoughts here?
I was just going to say, I want my MTV.
This concludes this episode of Gen X Men with Bill Rowland and Gary Dollarhite. Gen X Men is now off the air.